It was just a rival.
Just a rival.
It was just competition. It was all about who is making bigger movies.
He wasn't just Hollywood's strongest man, he was its most UN-forgiving. Arnold Schwarzenegger rose from a small-town dreamer in Austria to the king of action cinema, Conan, Terminator, Predator. Each role bigger than life itself. But behind the explosions and the smile, there was something colder. Arnold had a code: discipline, loyalty, respect. Break that code, and you were done. No screaming matches, no second chances, just silence. Over decades, he worked with dozens of stars, but not all of them stayed in his circle. Some clashed with him, some betrayed him, some just never measured up. And when that happened, Arnold erased them from his world like they never existed. Today we reveal the 6 men Arnold Schwarzenegger could never stand on set, off set, or ever again. And the first name will shock you. At first, they were brothers in arms. Planet Hollywood. Red carpets, action legends side by side. But behind the smiles, tension simmered. Arnold was discipline. Bruce was chaos. One lived by structure. The other thrived on improvisation. It all came crashing down on The Expendables 3. Bruce wanted more. Reports say he demanded $1 million per day. Arnold had no patience for it. One word ended their friendship: greedy. That's all Arnold tweeted. No explanation, no follow-up, just judgment. And in his world, that was final. Bruce was replaced. The set grew lighter. The camaraderie returned. Arnold never mentioned him again. Not on stage, not in interviews, not even at Planet Hollywood anniversaries. When asked if he missed Bruce, Arnold just smirked. Not everyone is built for teamwork. Cold, precise, deadly. But Bruce wasn't the only giant Arnold walked away from. The next clash wasn't about money. It was about control. Together, they changed Hollywood. The Terminator wasn't just a movie. It was a revolution. Arnold and James Cameron seemed unstoppable. Visionary director, unstoppable action star. A partnership made in steel. But by the time True Lies hit in 1994, cracks appeared. Cameron was obsessed with perfection. He wanted every detail flawless, every shot repeated, every take pushed to the breaking point. Arnold wasn't built for that. He came prepared, hit his marks, moved on. Efficiency was his code. Cameron's code: obsession, endless waiting, long silences between takes. Arnold once admitted the hardest part of the film was just waiting. There was no screaming, no public fallout, just fatigue. The partnership ended in silence. Fans begged for sequels. Studios teased reunions. But Arnold never pushed for it, and Cameron never asked. When pressed years later, Arnold only smiled. It depends how long he wants to shoot one scene. And with that, one of Hollywood's greatest duos quietly dissolved. But some rivalries weren't quiet at all. Some were loud, arrogant, and full of insults. The next name? Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal walked into Hollywood with swagger. Too much swagger. He called himself a real martial artist. Said Arnold was just a bodybuilder. He thought he was tougher, smarter, superior. Arnold didn't waste his breath. He didn't fight back with anger. He fought back with silence and a single cutting joke. Only if we're competing in slow motion. That was it. No feud on set. No public brawl. Just a cold dismissal. Behind the scenes, Arnold kept his distance. At charity events, when seating charts placed them together, Arnold quietly asked for a change. He wouldn't even share a table. Seagal wanted to be seen as the new alpha, but Arnold never acknowledged him as competition. He simply erased him from the conversation. Years later, reporters asked if Arnold respected Seagal's work. His answer was brutal in its simplicity. He's made a lot of movies, that's all I'll say. No praise, no interest. And in Arnold's world, that was worse than an insult. But while Seagal craved attention, Arnold's next rivalry came from the shadows. A man who clashed with him in silence and never looked back. That man was Richard Gere. Some rivalries are born on set. Others are born in silence. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Richard Gere never worked together, but the distance between them was legend. The story floated around Hollywood like a ghost. Two young stars, one martial arts studio, a disagreement that turned physical. No cameras, no charges, just a grudge that never healed. Arnold remembered. He always remembered. "I don't start fights," he once said, "but I remember who does." Their personalities couldn't have clashed harder. Gere was distant, image-driven, careful. Arnold was direct, disciplined, ruthless with focus. In the 19s, Stallone added fuel to the fire. He claimed Arnold and Gere had to be separated at a group lunch, and that a studio contract feud was at the heart of it. Arnold never confirmed it, but he never denied it either. Gere reportedly avoided events where Arnold was present: award shows, charity galas, red carpets. The two moved like parallel lines, close enough to feel the tension, but destined never to meet. Arnold once said, "Sometimes energy doesn't align. When that happens, you keep your distance." For Richard Gere, that distance lasted a lifetime. But the next rival wasn't distant. He was loud, flashy, marketed as the next Arnold, and that comparison Arnold never forgave. His name? Jean-Claude Van Damme. In the 19 Hollywood crowned a new action prince, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Studios called him the next Arnold. Arnold called him something else. Choreography. That one word cut deeper than any punch or kick. Arnold didn't see a rival. He saw an imitator. Their paths nearly collided on Predator. Van Damme was cast as the monster itself, but he clashed with the crew, complained about the suit, and then he walked off set. Arnold never forgot. Later, when asked about the new wave of action stars, he smirked. "Some of them look great doing backflips, but they don't last." He didn't name names. He didn't have to. Years later, the two shared red carpets and panels. The cameras caught smiles, but behind them, nothing. No warmth, no trust, just cold politeness. Van Damme tried to rebuild the bridge, called Arnold an inspiration, a legend. Arnold gave him a nod, and silence. In Arnold's world, silence was the final verdict. But his last cold shoulder wasn't aimed at a peer. It was aimed at someone younger. A star from another generation. And for Arnold, that clash wasn't about money or fame. It was about energy. That man was Tom Hardy. This rivalry wasn't about money. It wasn't about ego. It was about vibes. Tom Hardy never fought with Arnold. No screaming, no insults, no feud on paper. But from the moment they crossed paths, Arnold kept his distance. Hardy was intense, too intense, hyper-focused, demanding. Arnold didn't see strength. He saw noise. "Intensity is good," Arnold once said, "but if it blocks the room, it's useless." The two were set to appear on a panel together in 2015. At the last minute, Arnold cancelled. No reason given, just silence. Later, Hardy praised Stallone, Brando, De Niro, but left out Arnold. When told about it, Arnold replied coldly, "He's intense, maybe too intense for a conversation." They were nearly attached to a military thriller together. Hardy as the lead, Arnold as support. Arnold said no, not because of the script, but because of the vibe. No explosions, no fight, just two men who would never share the same world. And that silence says more than words ever could. Because for Arnold, enemies weren't always declared. Sometimes they were simply erased. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just conquer Hollywood with muscle. He conquered it with discipline. His code was simple: respect the work, respect the people, respect the mission. Break that code, and you were out. Bruce Willis, James Cameron, Steven Seagal, Richard Gere, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Tom Hardy, each one crossed the line in their own way, and Arnold gave them the same punishment. Not rage, not revenge, just silence. Because in Arnold's world, you don't hear the door slam. You just realize you're not invited in anymore. So now the question is, who else do you think Arnold quietly erased from his circle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more untold Hollywood rivalries, don't forget to subscribe, because in Hollywood, power isn't about who shouts the loudest. It's about who chooses never to speak again.